Hello everybody, this is HG Shaves here. I'm back with a video. I hope this finds you well and in good health, good spirits, all those things. Today we have a very exciting shave, or at least exciting for me, because I will be using some of the products that I just received over from Spain. And let's start with the focus and highlight of today's video, which is La Riviera from the artisan Lodrino. So the backstory on how I came to receive the soap was a few months ago. I was invited very kindly by someone to a Spanish shaving chat group. So yes, we speak Spanish in the chat group, but to be more specific, is full of people from Spain, except for me. As far as I know, I think I'm the only one who doesn't live in Spain. And so that group is filled with some wonderful people, including some Spanish artisans like Lodrino here. And this soap and his brand has been getting some traction over in Spain, certainly, and also with a couple Americans here who have some sort of connection to Spain. And so La Riviera here, this is based on the Italian Riviera, as we would say here in the US, kind of in the western part of Italy there, close to the coast. And as you can see here, it's got a beautiful kind of floral label, which is definitely what the scent is kind of all about. And I should note that these are the newest labels from Lodrino, in that the top label here is a bit larger and it goes closer to the edge of the cap. And then also he's only recently introduced these side labels, which, again, continue the beautiful floral theme, and then also include the ingredients. This is a tallow-based soap, and to be honest with you, I don't recognize much more than tallow. It's got a lot of kind of a chemical, spellings of things, but there's definitely some coconut oil in this, potassium hydroxide, some sort of vegan butters, sort of the usual tallow artisan soap base. Entiendo que es un jabón de España, por eso si alguien quiere escribirme en español, por favor me escribes abajo y te puedo responder. Okay, so the scent on the soap is, as I said, floral, and there's also some citrus in there. To me, very pleasant scent, especially for the warmer weather that we've been having, at least here in the US as of late. This is what it looks like in the tub, and it comes to you with 135 grams, which I believe is 4.7 ounces. And I would like to disclose that this was a gift to me from the owner of Lodrino, Francesco. Thank you very much, Francesco. But I believe the soap retails in Europe and in Spain for something like either 20 euros or 25 euros, which I think is a more than reasonable price if you consider the prices of other comparable European artisan soaps like this. So we'll keep talking about that as we go, in honor of Francesco, just because, Francesco has become a trusted friend of mine, and I've had a good time getting to know him personally and also asking him questions about his brand here. But one of the razors that we often talk about is let me just snap the head down, the ever-ready Streamline. He has one himself, and we've enjoyed talking about this beautiful razor. And so I thought I would use this for today's shave, just for the simple fact that I want to use it, and also that I think Francesco might appreciate that. So we're going to be using a PTFE blade here, which is certainly not brand new. I don't know how many uses are on it, maybe 5, something like that. I'm just going to load the blade in, push it up against the blade stops like so, and it's all locked down, good to go. Wonderful. Additionally, I will be using my beloved Zenith B2, or in Europe, B03 A26 boar brush, which I have not used for some time because it has been out on loan with a couple people. And so I'm glad that it is back now, and I'm happy to have it again. I'm going to go ahead and load this La Riviera soap. Let's do 30 seconds. I loaded for a little bit more than that last time I used the soap, and it was more than enough. So let's try to back off the load time slightly, and we'll see how it goes. I've really had no issues, getting the soap to load into the brush. It's not any sort of difficult process to get it loaded into your brush. And again, bores can be a little bit pesky, and so I'm sure that the soap would only be easier to use if I used a synthetic or a small badger or something like that, but sort of giving myself the extra challenge of trying to get this to work with my bore brush. Okay, I'm gonna get the face wet, and then I'm going to start the face lather. And let's get right into it. So again, as I mentioned, this is a tallow-based soap, and after talking with Francesco and also a couple of the other people in our little group, I realized that this is more comparable to a current European artisan tallow shave soap than it is to an American one, in that the kind of lather that it produces, the kind of face feel, it certainly seems more European than American to me, which isn't necessarily a good or a bad thing. It's just something that I noticed. So it feels a little bit more, I guess, traditional and old school in the way that the soap works up. However, I know that the kind of post-shave aspects of the soap were, greatly considered. And so, to me, the soap kind of has the best of both worlds. If you're looking for, I don't know, a soap like, I think Cella has tallow in it. So if you want kind of a traditional tallow-based European soap, but you want it to perform a bit better, especially in the post-shave categories, I think this is a great option. And again, I haven't really experienced a European artisan soap that has felt like this. I've used Abate y la Mantilla a couple times on this channel, and to me, this is a better soap base than Abate y la Mantilla, and it's got all the kind of charming European qualities, if you will, from my perspective. But this is cheaper and performs better than Abate y la Mantilla to me. So just wanted to mention that. All right, I'm gonna continue to face lather, and then I'll bring you on about to start my first pass with the Streamline. All right, we're back, and this is our first pass kind of result here. I did notice that the soap base tends to, again, retain its structure, I guess, a bit. More so maybe than the American artisans. Even when you add a bunch of water, you're still going to see a little bit of kind of peakiness and things like that. So I wanted to point that out. Okay, we're going to go with the Ever Ready Streamline here for the first pass. I've been using the setup for several days now, and been getting very effective shaves from this razor. As I mentioned before, it is on sort of the more aggressive side of these vintage SE razors, but to me, it's a bit like the Micromatic open comb, in that if you can master it, or at least be competent, it can give you a very effective shave. I have not really figured out the Micromatic, to be honest. And it's probably just because this razor is a little bit less scary looking to begin with. And so, yeah, at this point I have put in some decent usage with this particular razor. It's got a different, it's, you know, it's still pretty loud when it cuts, but I think it does have a slightly different sound to it because of the design. It's not as kind of a, it's not as high pitched, the cutting sound. That's how I would say it to be most specific. Getting under the nose here is always your greatest challenge. As I always say, don't try to overdo it, just get what you can and you'll get the rest on those successive passes. That's plenty. This is a bit heavier razor compared to some of the gems, and this one I think certainly has the heaviest handle. And to me, the heavy handle and the chrome plating, which adds a little bit of weight, I think, that's what sort of, you know, it really lets you kind of lean into it a little bit. And so is this the most comfortable razor? Definitely not by my standards. Maybe to you it is, but to me, I just love the look of it. And again, for me, it's usually a very effective razor. Okay, I'm gonna rinse and then bring it back in for, probably just gonna do 2 passes today because this razor is pretty efficient. So be right back. Pass number 2. Do our second and final pass, kind of mostly against the grain. The soap held together really nicely there in the brush in between passes. I would say it settled down a little bit, and you know, it's definitely lost a little structure, which is not a bad thing to me. I definitely prefer that, where the soap just gets, you know, thinner as you go through the passes. Regarding the scent, I haven't really mentioned it too much, and I don't quite recall the specific scent notes, but to me, when I read and watched reviews of this soap, you know, a month or 2 ago, I had kind of this idea that it would sort of smell like 4711, which is supposed to be the original Eau de Cologne, Colonia type scent out of Germany. And it's certainly not meant to be a copy of that or anything, but just as a frame of reference for people who are familiar with 4711, I would definitely say that this is in the same ballpark. Again, I don't think Francesco was necessarily trying to do that, but the soap was exactly as I expected, kind of in terms of scent. So I guess you could say that's a good thing, because I wasn't surprised when I opened up the tub and smelled it. In terms of ordering this soap, as far as I know, of course, you can order from Lodrino directly. I know he's on Instagram. That will probably be the link I post. He has Instagram, and then he's a vendor on a couple of the Spanish forums. Additionally, I believe he sells through an Italian vendor. So if you're in Italy and you probably want the most efficient way to get you some soap, look that up. I don't believe I mentioned that Francesco himself is from Italy, and he's been living in Spain for quite some time now, but he provides maybe an Italian approach to Spanish soap making, let's say. Another thing that I found interesting to learn about the shaving culture over there is that a lot of the soap makers study with other, more established artisan soap makers. So I won't mention the name because it's meant to be a secret or something. But Francesco and also a couple other artisans, from what I understand, they studied with this kind of, again, more established soap maker, if you will, and I thought that was kind of cool. I think that's a nice culture about it. I know that certainly the US artisans help each other out too. But in most cases, I wouldn't use the word study to describe how the soap makers here helped each other out. I think that's not as American of a thing, Generally speaking, I feel like we want to stick to ourselves, and, we won't be rude if you ask for advice or something, but I also don't feel like it's maybe as giving in a direct way, We're gonna do a little bit of a touch up here. Again, as I expected, this razor took care of 2 days growth, no problem. Just a couple spots, which are kind of my usual. Give you a more concrete description of the efficiency. I would say that in 2 passes, this razor got rid of as much hair as I usually do in 3, with kind of your average razor that I may use. Yeah, so that is a close shave in 2 passes. Didn't really have to work at all, and no real irritation from what I can see. So hard to complain about that. It's not the most comfortable thing, but it works for me, so I'm thrilled. I'm gonna do my final rinse and then come back and talk to you over post-shave. We'll be using some 4711, not surprisingly, so be right back. For aftershave today, we're gonna be double fisting. We're gonna use a little 4711 alcohol-based splash first, and then put on a little Chatillon Luxe Unscented post-shave toner. And so, yeah, this is the 4711 splash. More commonly, people know the actual EDC Eau de Cologne, which I forget if that comes in a bottle like this and you splash it on, or if that one is in a spray bottle, because I know it can be both ways for EDCs. And so there's not much to this splash in terms of ingredients: alcohol, fragrance, maybe a little glycerin. And so I imagine that this splash is perfect for summer months, perhaps in Italy or wherever. And yeah, it's got a bunch of chemical jargon here. So to add to the protection a little bit, we'll use Chatillon Looks Unscented Toner, which again, as I mentioned, unfortunately I don't think is available at the moment. But you only need a couple drops of this stuff. And to me, this is the perfect kind of liquid option if you want something for warm climates that, you know, is more protective than, say, 4711. I feel like in my experience of going to a warm climate and using this, it worked out really, really well for me. Right, I think that's gonna finish it for today. Let's do a final recap. We used the Ever-Ready Streamline and gave us a very effective shave, and was very pleased with that. For the soap, finally one more time, La Riviera by Lodrino. I just noticed here under his logo it says soaps and artisanal, well, cosmetics and soaps, and they're artisanal. That's what this says. Anyway, so grateful and thank you to my friend Francesco for giving me the chance to try out his soap. I've already ordered another one, which is a kind of exclusive soap for the members of that aforementioned group. And of course, I'm very excited to receive that one. But, you know, again, thank you so much, Francesco, for sending this to me. I've been wanting to try this for some time now. And as a friend of mine says about dealing with international shipping, you just have to learn to be a very patient person. And so I'm learning to be more patient, which is certainly not the usual MO here in the States, where you can get, you know, basically whatever you want in a couple days delivered to your door, right? So anyway, please do check out Francesco's page. I'll link that down below. And if you'd like to order some, let me know if I can help with the process a little bit. You know, for example, he's going to be sending me a soap in theory sometime in the future. So perhaps your soap could be sent along with that. I'm happy to help in whatever way I can, because I know that buying stuff internationally can be kind of a pain. All right, well, thank you all so much if you've made it this far. This has been a very pleasant, enjoyable shave, and I'm happy to have shared it with you all. So for now, this has been HG Shaves. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.